Hello, YouTube. R Payne here. How you doing? Listen, I was a federal employee for like 38 years, and it was interesting. I kind of find it interesting that the executive branch, through one of these executive actions, sent out the whole federal workforce a letter to resign, and it gave them a week to decide to whether to resign or not. And I just thought it would be interesting to go over that letter, have some comments, and I have some friends, definitely a whole bunch of friends and associates still working for the federal government, and I'm really curious as to what they might do. Uh, it's a very short window, and there could be some consequences if they don't take the deal. But we'll see. But this is a chance they have to take. So I'm glad I wasn't faced with that chance. I've been out since 2020, and uh, so here goes. So I'm gonna go down the letter. It's not long. There's a few things in there that maybe I'll stop and start while I go through it, and I'll just read it with you guys, and you can just go online and read it yourself. But hey, listen, you know what? There's something to do. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell when you subscribe, because I'm gonna start going live. Every so often. Every Wednesday, though, at 7 o'clock, I have a sports show. I need more of you people to come on up and just stay in the audience, put some comments on. Every so often, I have some fellas up and we talk sports. And we cover the whole gambit. And, so I might start going live a little bit more often, just impromptu when I have something to say. I'll probably throw some lives out there. So make sure your notification bells hit. I cover politics, and Trump is very busy right now, so politics is real hot. I saw Tulsi Gabbard's confirmation hearing and a few others, and I hope she gets in. But anyway, without further ado, but this letter. So, what would you do if you got a letter like this from your employee, and your employer telling you that shit? I'm gonna pay you all the way up until September if you get out. Anyway, without further ado, let's go take a look at it. All right. Just make sure you can see it. Right. So, yeah. So we're going to just go through it. And let me get myself off the screen because it's not so important for me to distract from you guys looking at this. You could enlarge it on your own. A fork in the road, and they got some frequently asked questions. And you could probably find this on any search engine. Okay, so they're talking about the email they sent out. Everybody got it on the 28th, 2025. And it's presenting a deferred resignation letter. And if you do not respond to the email and wish to accept the deferred resignation letter, you may do so by the following steps. You can send that email to hr@opm.gov from your government account. Only email from your government account or your .mil account will be accepted. So you got to do it from official channels, not a home email. You got to send it from your official email. And you have to type the word resign in the subject line. This way, when they go up, they don't have to read none of your prose. They don't want to hear none of that shit. Just put the word resign in there. Probably make it bold too, so they can see it. And so they could just, okay, they're going to take your credentials, they're going to take your name and all that stuff, and they're going to count you in the number of people who resign. Okay. The deferred resignation email to federal employees on January 28th. During the first week of this administration, Donald Trump issued a number of directives concerning the federal workforce. Among those directives, the president required that employees return to in-person work, restored accountability for employees who have policy making authority, restored accountability for senior career executives and reformed the federal hiring process to focus on merit. That's another way of saying he's gotten rid of DEI. He just wants you to be the best qualified that you can be and compete for those jobs. As the result of the above orders, the reform of the federal workforce will be significant. So here's the deal, and we're going to get to it. If you don't resign, okay, by February 6th, if you don't resign, there's no guarantee that your position is going to last, for the next 6 months or 8 months or throughout the year, right? I would imagine they're going to have base reductions. I think there'll be base reductions, Base Reduction Act. There'll probably be consolidations. There's going to be a whole lot of movement in the federal government, and the resulting workforce is going to be smaller. So it's like 3 million federal employees. And I wouldn't be surprised that after they get finished, it'll be down. And we're not talking military soldiers or nothing. We're talking about just civilian employees. I wouldn't be surprised if they get it down by maybe 20, not 25%, but I guess at least 20%. I bet you 20% of the workforce is going to be reduced over the next 4 years. That sounds like a lot, but there's going to be a lot leaving because there's going to be plenty of people taking this offer. All right. So there's 4 pillars. 4 pillars. Return to office. The substantial majority of federal employees who have been working remotely since COVID will be required to return to their physical offices 5 days a week going forward. We will expect our physical offices to undergo meaningful consolidation and divestitures, potentially resulting in physical office relocations for a number of federal workers. So they're going to consolidate buildings, offices, and bases, right? So if you have a whole bunch of federal or certain bases in an area, and when people are gone, if a building becomes non-viable because there's not enough people in there, and it's only one organization or 2 organizations that could be moved from one building to another location, just the people, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. So stay tuned. It's going to be a turbulent time for the federal workforce. I know there's a lot of people who are going to be upset, but this is the way it is. Okay, but the second pillar is performance culture. The federal workforce should be comprised of the best America has to offer. We will insist on excellence at every level. Don't be intimidated by the words. This is a good words to start with, right? You got to start with high expectations no matter what you do. This is something that most people probably need to do in their life. When you're talking to your children, you're talking to your organization, you're talking to anybody. It's better to have high expectations of the things you want to accomplish. You don't start at the bottom and hope you work your way up. You say, this is what I expect. I expect excellence. And if that's the top measure, some people will reach up to meet it, some people won't. And this is how you can start to look and separate the wheat from the chaff. Our performance standards will be updated to reward and promote those who exceed expectations and address in a fair and open way those who do not meet high standards which the taxpayers of this country have the right to demand. Now it sounds kind of ominous a little bit. What are they going to do with the folks who don't meet those standards? Well, the truth of the matter is, you're not going to have, if you have an organization of 10 people, the person who's at the lowest competency level or capacity level or whatever, he may still be able to meet the standards of your organization to do the job, but that person's not going to get promoted, that person won't make that cut. And if you find people who don't meet any of those standards, like they say here, the high standards, but just regular standards, okay, all the standards, if you don't meet some of the standards and and you miss the cutoff line, they're gonna let you go. They're gonna let you go. That's what this is saying. What's the third pillar? More streamlined and flexible workforce. While a few agencies and e- and even branches of the military are likely to see increases in the size of the workforce, that's that reorganization I'm saying. The majority of federal agencies are likely to be downsized through restructuring, realignments, and reductions in force. These actions are likely to include the use of furloughs and the reclassification to at-will status for a substantial number of federal employees. Now, I'm not sure off the top of my head at-will status means. I think that means that they can get rid of you at will. You're going to be on shaky ground. So if they find out they don't need you and you're at will status, you'll be furloughed from time to time. They'll bring you back. You're it sounds like you're almost like a temporary worker. I don't know what that means. Got to look that up. So the fourth pillar is enhanced standards of conduct. The federal workforce should be comprised of employees who are reliable, loyal, trustworthy. This is why he got rid of a lot of those IG people and a whole bunch of people who were trying to put him in jail from the Biden administration, and who strive for excellence in their daily work. Employees will be subject to enhanced standards and suitability of conduct as we move forward. Employees who engage in unlawful behavior or other misconduct will be prioritized for appropriate investigation and discipline, including termination. So those are the four new pillars that they're going to ask the whole workforce to live by, right? So each of these pillars outlined above will be pursued in accordance with applicable laws consistent with your agency's policies and to the extent permitted under relevant collective bargaining agreements. So, so there you have it. You could look at this thing. If you choose to remain in your current position, we thank you for your renewed focus on serving the American people to the best of your abilities and look forward to working together as part of the improved federal workforce. Okay, so at this time, we cannot give you full assurance regarding the certainty of your position or agency. But should your position be eliminated, you will be treated with dignity and will be afforded the protection in place for such positions. Well, listen, you know what? I don't know how you get fired with dignity, right? How much will it be worth if you know your job is going away? So these are good words to say. So what they're really saying is you got this 1 week window to take your chances. You're like rolling the dice, you know? Uh, and nobody's really going to be safe, but there'll probably be some indications on which organizations will be more protected than others. If you have some administrative job in some obscure operation in the government, you may not be as secure as a person working in a high level research facility, making strategic weapons, automation, AI, certain of those things where the demand is higher. Like if you're working in Space Force, you'll probably be a little bit more protected than if you're working in some HR department in some obscure part of the government somewhere. So these are things you have to consider. and I don't envy you. I really don't. I mean, here's the point: if you bet on yourself and you're not close to retirement, but you take the 8 months from now to the end of September, getting full pay, and you got to check to see if it's full medical benefits in order for you to find a job in that period. So you will have no discontinuation of money. You know, some people bet on themselves. I would imagine there's going to be a lot of older people who are like a year or two away who are going to take this deal. You know, going to take this deal. Um, okay, so this me also. So there's a deferred letter, resignation letter. And hold on for a second. Let me see if I can do this. I've never done this before. Can I? So I had to pause it for a little bit, but I'm back. So anyway, let's just go through some more of this because we're gonna get down to the PA still resistance resistance. All right. So listen, I'm looking at this before we get to the letter. And so, if you choose not to continue your current role in the federal workforce, we thank you for your service to your country, and you will be provided with a dignified, fair departure from the federal government utilizing a deferred resignation program. So, this is some key words: deferred resignation, right? You put your resignation in now, and it's effective at the end of September. The program begins effective January 28th and is available to all federal employees until February 6th. So you got till February 6th next week to resign. If you resign under this program, you will retain all pay and benefits regardless of your daily workload and will be exempted from all applicable in-person work requirements until the end of September 2025 or earlier if you choose to accelerate your resignation for any reason. The details of this separation plan can be found below. So there's another level. So the key is some people misunderstood this to think that if you put your resignation in, they would just pay you for doing nothing till September. No, the truth of the matter is you'll still be working for them. Now they're gonna expect that there's gonna be a lot of effery going on when people are gonna get paid, but they don't have to go in the office. And of course, as you know, when people are getting ready to retire, they tend to slough off, but they'll try to get the last minute, last stuff out of you, but they'll let you stay home so you don't have to commute and be in the office. So yeah, you're on telework. You don't want to come in the office. We'll let you stay out of the office all the way up until the end of September, but you must resign. That's what that is, right? So essentially, you still be working, you know. So whichever you choose, we thank you for your service to the United States of America. And then they have this letter here. And so you could the letter, I have it up on the screen, deferred resignation letter, then we can go through it. So you know the big salient points of this. So I don't have to read the whole letter to you guys. So it's just some more stuff that we had that I just went over. But this is the official letter and how it looks. And you're making your declarations. I am certain, I am committed, I understand. These are the kind of things that some of these paragraphs start with. So provided you resign, they're going to want you to say I this, I that, boom, 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 and you put this back in the mail. In the subject line, you type resign, and you're out of here at the end of September. And they're not going to let you change your mind. They are not going to let you change your mind. You could bet your bottom dollar. This is a whole plan to reduce the workforce by people voluntarily wanting to get out. And the workforce is old anyway. There's a lot of older people in the workforce in their 60s, just hanging on to make sure they're closer to Social Security. There's a fair amount of people in their 70s who are still working. because let's face it, some places it's easy work. So I would imagine that they'll get around 20% of the people out of the workforce over the next year or two, and restructure the federal workforce. They're going to restructure, downsize it. Now, where does that additional money go when they do that? Well, that's another story. How the Republicans spend money is different than how the Democrats spend money, but rest assured, they both spend money. You know what I'm saying? Some money might be more of an investment. I like the idea of the Iron Dome, the Defense Shield program. I would imagine if I was still in the service, I working not in the service, but a civilian engineer, I'd probably be working on that program, or at least part of it, because that's the kind of program where there'll be little pieces for everybody to participate in. So anyway, it's exciting times for the United States of America. And I tell you what, good, bad, or indifferent, I think Trump has done more in less than 2 weeks than Biden and Harris has done in 4 years, besides destroy the country. That's what they did with the immigration and all the wokeness. So anyway, I just wanted to say my little piece on that, to go over that letter, and because I'm just interested in it, so I wanted to share that with you, and share this. So I have my little commentary. I think it might help somebody understand. Now, if somebody was still working, they better understand the implications of this letter before they send that resignation in. I just talked to a federal employee, by the way, and he's not taking the deal. He's not, because again, he pointed out that, listen, I'll still be working. I'll be working from home. But the truth of the matter is, he's looking to retire at the end of this year anyway. So he's not worrying about taking his chances. So he's just going to continue to do his work. He ain't signing anything with these guys, and he's just going to retire naturally. And let's just say they reduce, after the people, they reduce his position and all that. He doesn't really care. He doesn't anticipate anything happening before the end of this year anyway, and he's out in December. So anyway, with that, I'm done. Our pain, marriage, politics, and sports. Over and out.